So this is the URUAV Flipo F95. So this is a pusher style cinewhoop, and that means the motors are inverted. You can see they're on the bottom of the drone here, not mounted on the top. And that offers a little bit of stability. It offers a little bit more protection too, I think. You know, because it's a cinewhoop, you can see it has these protective covers all the way around, and they've got this little foam padding. So this thing is excellent for flying indoors. And you can see that I have my Insta360 Go camera mounted on here, and actually this thing I did an indoor kind of photo shoot flying around. I'll show it to you, and it was a lot of fun to do, and that's really kind of what this thing was built for. So stay tuned and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. So this isn't the first pusher style drone that I've flown. And you can see I have the 85X from Beta FPV, a similar style cinewhoop, but a little bit smaller. And a lot of these pusher style cinewhoops come in two sizes. There's the 95 and the 85. And 95 meaning 95 millimeters from motor post to motor post, or 85 millimeters from motor post to motor post. And you know, the smaller one is nice because you can fit in small places, but it's actually going to be a little bit more difficult to manage your throttle, right? So the big challenge when you're flying one of these things, say inside of a house, is to maintain that altitude. And the larger drone with the larger propellers here is just a little bit easier. So if you're thinking about something for smooth cruising, I'd probably recommend a larger size like the 95. Now the thing about this that's nice is that it's under 250 grams. Now I tested this with a 450 milliamp hour 4S, which is what they recommend. You get about 4 minutes of flight time. I was getting a little bit less. I tested with a 550, a 650, and an 850. Now obviously as you add capacity, you're going to add flight time. I found the sweet spot, or the battery that I really preferred, to be that 650. I was getting over 5 minutes of flight time, and I felt that the weight just wasn't quite as difficult to manage as, say, like the 850, although you get a little bit more flight time. So you're going to have to kind of figure out what you prefer, right? Do you prefer a little bit more performance, or do you want a little bit more flight time? Now the thing about this thing, it is nice, it's about 95 grams, so again, you can choose whichever battery you want. You're still going to be under that 250 gram limit, even if you add a camera. Now I was flying with the Insta360 Go. It actually comes with a mount for a naked GoPro. Now the naked GoPro is going to have a little bit better quality, but I don't find them to be quite as durable as the Insta360 series. Now this is the original. The Insta360 Go will give you a better, clearer picture, but it's about $300. There's also the Insta360 SMO camera, which is basically a naked GoPro style camera, and that's also a really good one. A little bit better quality than the Insta360 Go, but kind of depends on what you're planning to do. If you just want some, you know, interesting footage, you want to fly around your house, or you know, your backyard, or parks, you know, it kind of depends, right? You kind of be the judge. How great do you need that quality? You're not going to be able to fly a full-size GoPro on one of these. I mean, you could, but it's just really too darn heavy for something like this, and you're not going to get smooth footage. It's going to be difficult to fly, and again, you're going to bump up past that 250 gram limit. So if you really want the best picture, you probably want a full-size cinewhoop to carry a full-size GoPro. So I already kind of talked about how the motors here are inverted, but what are these motors? Well, they're 1106 4500 kV motor. And I really do like these motors. I think they're pretty much perfect, pushing these 2.5 inch propeller. The frame's pretty durable. I did crash it inside and outside. You know, I did try to take this thing out and do a little bit of acro, which you can do, but that's not what this thing was built for. Again, built for slow cruising, and it does a pretty solid job of that. You got an F4 flight controller, the RunCam Nano 2 1200 TVL line camera, pretty clear. It's an XT30 connector. You can see the capacitor is soldered on there, and I got mine with an XM Plus receiver. The VTX is switchable from 25 milliwatts all the way up to 400 milliwatts. I flew mine on 200 milliwatts. I find that just to be perfect, and it got really hot running at 400, so bumped it down to 200 and got plenty of range, or at least what I needed to get out of it. I do like this antenna that they put on there. little circular polarized antenna, and I got really good reception, no issues there. It does even have a programmable LED on the back, so if that's your thing, jump into Betaflight and have at it. So let's take a look at me flying this thing through a house. No, it's not my own. It is a nice house though, and I had a lot of fun doing that. Kind of my first time trying to do a full continuous shot, so we'll take a look at that here. All right, so I had a lot of fun flying this through a house. You know, I've seen lots of people doing things like this, and I think this is a really good drone to do this with. Now, again, I'm using the Insta360 Go. The Insta360 Go 2 will give you a better picture, as will a naked GoPro or the Insta SMO camera. But the Insta360 Go is the lightest and the least expensive of these options. And it does a pretty good job with the stabilization turned on. Now I'm going to go ahead and flip on the picture, the video feed. You can kind of see that in the lower right-hand corner. So if you kind of want to see what I see, you know, it's there. And I got pretty decent reception. Now I'm in the back corner of the house actually, and you'll see as I get into kind of some of the distant corners of it, it breaks up a little bit, but it's still pretty good signal. And like I said, I'm running at 200 milliwatts here, not 400. And you know, it was just kind of fun to fly through this giant house, in and out of some of the different rooms. And you can see kind of the difficulty is kind of maintaining altitude. You know, it kind of drops. This isn't something that I've done a lot. You know, I've had a little bit of practice, and I just thought it would be fun to try and do. A little bump there kind of ruined my decently clean shot. But I'm going to throw the video feed back on there. You can kind of see as I kind of get into the, you know, the far spaces of this house, I do get some breakup. But again, I could just switch that video power up a little bit if I wanted to, but I found it was getting a little bit hot, so I didn't bother. But this thing is fun for just kind of slow cruising. You know, I'm going to get outside, and you can see it handles this day just well. You know, it's not a windy day, kind of an overcast, crummy day, but you know, good day for flying inside, outside. This thing was just a blast to fly. And this is going to make its way into kind of my arsenal of drones. I actually prefer flying this small Cinewhoop versus a larger full-size Cinewhoop. You know, there was a scene where I flew right by some people. I don't know that I want to do that with a full-size Cinewhoop, but this thing is so light with those protective guards over the propellers, with kind of those foam bumpers. I felt a lot safer flying this thing inside, and you can see that it performs pretty darn well outside. You know, again, it's not a windy day, but it could handle a light breeze. You know, on a 4S battery, this thing's got plenty of juice and plenty of power. You know, you can kind of see the video feed on the right versus the Insta360 is obviously wider and clearer, and that's by design. That's why you want one of these cameras as we pass over the chimney here. So yeah, it was just kind of a fun little drone to fly. I'm going to take this out to the back corner of the barn, where I did start to lose a little reception as I kind of went behind it, but you know, nothing, you know, if you've flown analog before, that's a typical breakup. Now, they do say that they're going to put out, you know, a DJI Vista version of this, so we shall see. But overall, I really enjoy flying it. If you're looking for a pusher drone, a Cinewhoop, something under 250 grams, this is definitely a fun little option. Now it's about $160, but we got a code from Banggood in the description down below, so you get this thing for $147, and that's a pretty darn good deal. You know, the one thing I would have liked is different mounts. Now, it did come with this mount for the naked GoPro, and I was able to just kind of zip tie my Insta360 in here, and it worked just fine. But a couple of other TPU options included would have been nice. And it's not quite as nice as the beta FPV version, which is mounted on dampeners, right? So that kind of takes away a little bit of that jello or vibrations. They did include the Insta360 mount and a naked GoPro mount if you got the beta FPV version. But overall, I'd have to say this is a pretty fun little quad, and I really enjoy it. I'm going to do some more indoor flying with this thing and the Insta360 Go. I may even splurge for the Insta360 Go 2 for some better footage. So hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you check us out on halfgrown.com. Also, we give away a drone a month to a lucky Patreon subscriber. Check out our video description for more details on that. Hey, good luck and happy flying.